You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
For WXCO News, I'm Isabella Nieto. September was National Recovery Month, which transitions nicely into October, designated as Mental Health Awareness Month. Lisa Hale has more.
Mental health issues can and do sometimes translate into substance use and abuse disorders. Apricity Services, based in Appleton, is a nonprofit organization that offers everything from residential treatment for addiction, peer-based recovery, transitional housing, sober living, and employment services. Dan Hawk is the president of contract packaging and recovery support at Apricity.
There's no one-size-fits-all for recovery. People need different help with all different kinds of things.
Hawk said some people need help with sober living or transitional housing or even finding work.
Once people complete treatment, they're looking for what's next. And so Apricity provides employment opportunities so that once they're done and ready to move on to the next thing, we have job opportunities. So they're working in our building. We provide supported employment, teach them how to be better employees.
Jolie Vervoort, who is Apricity's president of residential treatment, said there are many misconceptions about substance abuse, addiction, and recovery.
I'm not sick enough, or I haven't used long enough, or I haven't been in enough trouble, or I haven't had enough negative consequences. If you're thinking about your using to the point of, I wonder if I have a problem, it might be time to take a peek at what's really happening.
Vervoort says another misconception people have is that help's just not available. It is, she says, through the county public health department, to medical professionals, to residential treatment programs, and therapy.
We have a new candidate in next year's race for state Supreme Court. Races have been more high profile than ever. Last year's contest between Susan Crawford and Brad Schimmel became the most expensive state court race in American history. Savannah Tomei Olson has the details.
Conservative Justice Rebecca Bradley's term is up in 2027. Liberal judges have won 4 of the last 5 Wisconsin Supreme Court elections. Now, a conservative contender is entering the race to replace her. Maria Lazar has been on the 2nd District Court of Appeals since 2022. She released her first campaign video.
I am an independent, impartial judge who strives to follow the law and Constitution in every decision I make from the bench. It is time to restore that level of judicial dedication to the court. That is precisely why I have decided to run for the open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
The court currently has a 4-3 liberal majority. If a conservative candidate wins, that balance would stay the same. If a liberal candidate wins, the court would have a 5-2 liberal majority. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
A case of avian flu has been reported in Jefferson County. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection has identified a case of the highly pathogenic disease in a commercial poultry flock. The affected flock has been quarantined and will not enter the food system. The DATCP is urging all livestock owners to implement biosecurity measures to protect their animals from disease, including washing hands, disinfecting equipment, restricting access to animals, and separating new additions to the flock or herd for at least 30 days. Poultry owners are asked to keep their birds indoors whenever possible. The Marathon County Health Department announced this week the appointment of the county's new health officer. Caitlin Suganaka brings more than 15 years of experience in public health and expertise in trauma-responsive program design, chronic disease prevention, epidemiology, public health policy development, and community engagement. She will lead the Marathon County Health Department in guiding efforts to protect and promote the health and well-being of residents across the county. Wausau residents will soon be able to visit a Hy-Vee. According to a press release from the Iowa-based company, Hy-Vee will acquire the County Market store at 220 18th Avenue. The company will also turn the Circle K convenience store adjacent to the County Market store into a Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh location. The County Market store will officially close on November 11th and will reopen as the new Hy-Vee store on November 18th. Hy-Vee will offer the 130 part and full-time county market employees positions with the store's new owners, including access to benefits, employee discounts, and more. The Marshfield Medical Center in Weston will celebrate 2 decades of serving the community this weekend. Saturday will mark 20 years since the opening of the Weston campus. WSAW reports when the facility opened, Marshfield Clinic Weston Center offered medical expertise in primary care in 20 specialties, and it was the first Marshfield Clinic facility without paper medical charts. Now it provides adult and pediatric primary care and access to over 50 specialties, including physical therapy and surgical services. The Weston facility employs more than 925 people, including more than 120 physicians and advanced practice clinicians. I'm Isabella Nieto for WXCO News.
It's the Cubs and the Brewers. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball. The Brewers will face the Chicago Cubs tomorrow in Milwaukee for Game 1 of the divisional playoffs. Last night, the Cubs eliminated the Padres 3-1 at Wrigley Field. Cubs manager Craig Counsell on having to play his former team, the Brewers, at American Family Field.
Well, they're going to be fired up. They've had the best team in baseball this year. They feel like they have a chance to play in the World Series with this team, so they're rested. So it's going to be a great atmosphere.
First pitch tomorrow in Milwaukee at 1:08 p.m. College basketball, former Badgers player Brad Davison has been hired as an assistant coach for the men's basketball team. The 26-year-old has played in the European League the past 4 years. Badgers head coach Greg Gard.
I felt somebody with his background, his youthfulness was important, his experience, and I felt that's what would help our staff.
That's Greg Gard with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Thinking about heading to the theater this weekend? There is a nice variety of films headed to your local screen. What would Halloween season be without a ghost in the theaters? The ghost is Casper and compliments of a re-release from 1995 to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the mediocre film, which drew barely 50% fresh reviews according to Rotten Tomatoes. Dwayne Johnson stars as UFC fighter Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine, a historical drama that's pulling a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Bone Lake is a horror thriller that finds two couples spending a weekend sharing a lakeside home. The film is crushing with critics and currently pulling a 94% on the tomato meter. Good Boy follows canine hero Indy in this rated PG thriller that is also a critic's darling at 91%. It's hard to go wrong with a canine hero. Let's go to the movies. The great part is you just won $1 million on Wheel of Fortune, making yourself the biggest winner ever. The tough part? You filmed the episode in May and had to keep it a secret from your boyfriend and family for 4 months. 34-year-old Christina Daravianic of Connecticut had just started dating the boyfriend and managed to keep everything on the QT. She held a watch party in Stamford, and her boyfriend found out while watching in Boston. Daravianic also says, like most people who win a lot of money, she is not quitting her job, at least not until the boss refuses her raise. If you're looking for a film to watch at home this weekend, check out Caught Stealing. The Darren Aronofsky-directed film is a good caper about an ex-baseball player who gets mixed up with gangsters thanks to his goofy neighbor. The film stars Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler, and it's definitely worth a look. Caught Stealing is now available to stream at home on video on demand. Tilly Norwood is an AI performer who has her own Instagram account and whose creator says she will be signed by a talent agency soon. 2 big talent agencies in LA have already said they will not sign AI performers. Now Screen Actors Guild President Sean Astin, known for his role in The Goonies and Rudy, says human actors have all the leverage because that is who audiences want to see. Astin says he will do everything he can to protect SAG actors. Leonardo DiCaprio is mourning the death of his friend, conservationist Jane Goodall, who passed away earlier this week at the age of 91. Goodall did groundbreaking research involving chimpanzees, transforming people's understanding of animals, and founded the Jane Goodall Institute. DiCaprio served with Goodall on the United Nations Messengers of Peace and called her a true hero for the planet and a dear friend. The two teamed up on the movie Howl, which is currently in production. DiCaprio says his last words to his friend were, "You are my hero." For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Fall-like temperatures will be back next week. We're going to be dealing with this sunny summer-like weather for a few more days. Today, sunshine, mid to upper 80s for a high this afternoon. Tonight, back into the 60s. Tomorrow, sunny and windy with a high again in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp 62.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.